Hello, Revere, and welcome to another great show. Today we have a gentleman who's running for Ward 4 Councillor. His name is Philip Russo. Mr. Russo, thank you for taking the time to come on here, sir.
Pleasure is mine.
Thank you. Before we start, I always ask people, tell us a little about your education, and then we'll get into the meat of the subjects.
Sure. My education starts in East Boston at St. Mary's Star of the Sea. No longer there anymore, a Catholic school that has been closed since. And then we moved here to Revere in '83, and I ended up at St. Mary's in Lynn, a private school. And that was a challenge.
You lived in Revere and you went to St. Mary's in Lynn?
I did.
So you must have traveled somehow.
Had to travel a lot, actually, taking the bus from top of Park Ave all the way down to Wonderland Station, and then a second bus into Lynn, and then having to walk a few blocks to get to the school. Winter, spring, didn't matter, and if the weather was bad and school was on, Dad found a way to drive me in. Didn't want me to miss.
What was it like going to a parochial? That's a private school, right?
It was. It is. It still is.
I mean, it still is a private.
It sure is. Back when I was there, the sisters were there running the school, and it was a little tough, you know. But I grew up in that type of schooling, where the education was enforced. You know, they forced us to have to do certain things, dress a certain way, act a certain way, respect our flag, respect the government, and respect people. And it's an old school, but it's what should be enforced on our children today, I think.
Right. Now, was there a certain dress code that you had to abide to?
There was. You know, we had to wear a shirt and tie. Navy blue was the color of the schools, which
That's what we wore that too in elementary school.
I think that's the common color that most of the schools carry. Even in Revere, some of the schools, if you notice, they've gone to the navy blue and white with the kids in the colors.
Right. And when you go to parochial school, where do you start? What grade do you start?
Well, for me, I started out in third grade and then carried all the way through 12.
Oh, so you finished your high school there?
I finished my high school there in grade 12, and then I did some night school over at Northeastern University, and then opened my business at the same time.
Before we get into your business, they taught you how to communicate there pretty good, from what I understand.
Well, they teach you to speak when spoken to, and to try to listen and try to understand before speaking. And it's a tough learn. It's a tough learn, because as children, and even sometimes as adults, we want to just spat out a response. It's tough.
Right. Now, you were running for councillor in Ward 4. What made you decide to do that, if I may ask, Phil?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I was going to wait and hold off a couple of years. I wanted to wait, and the reasons were, I have an infant son, Joseph, who is now 5 months, and my daughter, who is 3, Sabrina. And I was going to wait for them to get a little older. And I was helping with different campaigns, and I like to help out and be involved. And I was approached by some of the people in the ward, people that are looking to see things not so much change, but be changed for the better all the time, not some of the time. And it's a tough road. I think being a counselor is a tough job. You know, you're answering to a lot of people, and you're trying to be the voice. And I think that what I can do is be the voice of the people and be able to stand up and do the right thing for them, so that our kids can be safe. You know, our streets can be safe, and it's a full-time job almost.
That's pretty good. But what are some of the things that you would like to see? Let's say you were if you had a free hand to do anything you wanted, what would you like to see done in Ward 4?
I think for starters, I'd probably want to work with safety. I would want to see what we can do to make the areas of Ward 4 and all around Revere safe, maybe with different improvements.
You don't have a high crime rate in Ward 4, or do you?
A
drug problem?
I think the drugs are everywhere.
Yep.
We hear more about it in the news when terrible things happen, you know, and we've lost a lot of great people to a bad epidemic, and I hope that with the mayor's office and the councilors, that they get together and coordinately put something out there that makes it safer for the people that are trying to become clean to stay clean, because those are the people that we tend to lose first.
Can you give us an example of what kind of businesses that are located there?
It's a very diverse culture. From,
The streets they would be on.
well, the businesses that are on the streets or the businesses that are on Broadway.
Either one. Either one. Take
We
your pick.
have different markets. You know, years ago there were the straight up common names that everyone knew of, and today they're different diverse cultured markets, from Brazilian markets to American style markets to coffee shops, lots of hair salons, nail salons. All within Ward 4, there's all types of restaurants, Chinese, you name it. And you can find anything within the ward, within the blocks and range between Proctor Ave over to almost Chelsea, where, you know, in the main area between Broadway and City Hall, there's a lot going on. There's a real lot going on.
So Ward 4 is the one that's going from Proctor Ave to where the bridge is to
Correct.
Chelsea?
Correct.
Oh, I didn't know that. So you have like Walgreens over there, for example, almost before you get it. Oh, that is in Chelsea.
No, well, Walgreens and Revere, I would think, may fall in the ward. Some of the odd numbers and some of the even numbers on different streets
Right.
on the crossover from Broadway. It's pretty odd the way things are taken. Like some of Central Ave,
Yep.
you get the even numbers, not the odd numbers, which means my own sister can't vote for me because she's an odd number, not an even number.
You mean that's where the ward splits?
That's where the ward splits,
It's a dividing line right down the center.
right down the center there, odds and evens.
Okay. Sounds like when I was in Germany when they had the 4 zones, the Russian, the French, the British, and the American.
Wow.
And some of them were split in the middle.
No kidding.
Yep. Here's a good question for you, Phil. I'd like to ask you.
Go ahead.
What does Revere really mean to you?
Well, Revere to me is this. Revere, it's a diverse culture. It's a city of hardworking people that had to come together in a very, very hard time. In Revere, what we've been through is, we've been through it all. We've seen things that we don't normally see around here. We saw a tornado that touched down. And hardworking people that were so familiar with their everyday living, all of a sudden, we were hit with something that was just devastating. And in the aftermath, what showed the people of Revere the strength and who we are and how we came together in such a diverse group to put all of our differences aside, to give each other a hug and basically pick each other up and put it together. It shows that the strength is in the community and the citizens, and I think that that's really where my heart is and why my heart is in Revere and why I want to try to be a voice, you know, to help the citizens that want to be heard, that want to see changes, from as simple as a street light that's not working properly for safety, for people that are coming home and the dim lit of the time of year that it is, and for the safety for the children. You know, these are the people that came out to help. Everyone helped each other, and it just shows that we can lead with our hearts. And it's not about who you are, where you're from. It's about being here and being together and taking care of one another.
Right.
You know?
Now, you are a self-made man. You got out of high school when you were about 17, right?
Yes,
And you started your own business at 17.
I did.
Let's hear about that, because, you know, very few people do that.
Well, my parents, being role models of mine, worked very hard. My dad worked 3 jobs. My mom worked a second shift so she could be with me and my sister and be with us in the afternoon. And Dad, working the hours that he did, he showed us the value of family and what it meant to try to keep the family together. And in his efforts, gave us enough time to go to Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts for my sister, and for me to play sports, and my sister to do extracurricular activities like dance. And seeing that, and growing up on Park Ave, most of the neighbors were the same. Everyone worked hard. But I was always helpful. I was always trying to be helpful with the people, and I took a job part-time in high school for a local flooring company, and I learned how to run the business and help him run it from easy as flipping the carpets and loading them and just being helpful, being useful to people that couldn't do it for themselves. And I liked it. I liked making a difference and making a change. And in doing that, I keep them values with me because I like to, I'd say I'm a caretaker. You know, I like to take care of everybody. And my business and what I do, I'm able to do that. I can make a difference in someone's home and helping them by educating them.
What is your business, if I may ask you?
I own a flooring company called Russo's Flooring and Interiors.
Oh, that's flooring?
Yes, all types of flooring.
Right. Now, for example, if I wanted to have my floor done over, and I don't know what to use, what to do, which I'm sure you get people like that.
Always.
You come in and you tell me what.
Well, for
Make
starters,
believe I'm your customer.
well, for starters, I would probably ask you some simple questions. And they would be, what's the application? Meaning, what are you using it for? Is it your kitchen, your bathroom? Is it a bedroom, a living room? Are the floors cold? Are you looking to make them warm? Are you just looking to change them and make them new? What kind of budget? Where are you on a budget? You know, what are you really looking for? And then try to educate you on what your purchase is, not so much try to sell you. I believe that if you educate everybody and you teach them, that everyone, no matter what it is, whether it's flooring or the politics, working with the city, I think that it helps everybody in making the right decisions.
Right. Without mentioning price or anything. When you first started with the business, let's say the wood flooring, the tiles, or the carpeting,
Sure.
compared to when you first started as they are today, have they gone up quite a bit since that time?
They have. Products manufacturing costs more.
Right. Labor costs more.
Labor costs more. And we're trying to do things green, where we try to make it a healthy environment. So we're installing things that are more natural, that are safe for the environment, that easy for breathing, for all non-allergenic. There's all different types of products out there today. And years ago, people used to be afraid to put carpet in because of allergies.
Right.
Where today we have non-allergenic stuff, things that work well with breathing and air.
I'd like to ask you a question, if I may. If people wanted to do their own measuring, let's say,
Sure.
before you come in.
Sure.
Let's say I'm measuring the floor for carpeting.
Yep.
How much extra do I add on percentage-wise to be over, roughly?
Well, if as simple as a 12 by 12 room, I would say to you, if this is the exact measurements, I would probably add 3 inches on the width and 6 inches on the length. So just to give you just enough so that we can stretch it, or I would want to know more precise measurements. So I'd give you a basic on what you bring me, and then my estimate would be free to come out and measure it for you to make sure it's correct so we don't make the mistakes. So I could give you a basic quote on your measurements, but I wouldn't want to give you a factual quote without seeing it and seeing where it's going, just to protect you.
Now, do they have wood? I'd only pressure treated wood for flooring that's actually waterproof, or there's no such thing?
Well, wood and water usually don't mix.
Okay.
So there are applications that are put over wood to protect it so that the water stays on top. But
Well, like wax and things like
exactly, the different finishes from the polyurethanes, and today we don't use as much of the oils because of the smells.
that. Right.
But what happens is you can't stop water. You can only reroute it, so no matter where water is, if it's not cleaned up fast enough, it can affect the subfloors, and no matter what the products in the floors are.
Here's a question. I want to make sure I got the right street. Your Ward 4, is that where the Dunkin' Donuts is, down in that area too?
Yes,
That's in
exactly.
your ward?
Yes.
Okay. Then I can ask this. What is your goal as a councillor of Ward 4 in that particular area?
Well, I think one of my goals would be, I go back to the safety. I think that our streets need to be safer. Flashing lights when the lights are going to change, warning lights. So when people are crossing the streets, especially in the Dunkin' Donuts areas.
On Broadway, yeah.
On Broadway.
Yeah.
That's a very common areas down there, Liberto's Bakery.
I was going to mention that, right across the street.
Yep, exactly. And, you know, there's a lot of people crossing, a lot of people pulling over. There's a lot of things that I think need to be addressed in the different areas for businesses, from parking to safety. And I think we need to stay on the safety issues and the signs and the lights for brightness and for visual so people can see.
Right. Now, the American Legion, is that in your ward or that's not in your ward? Which is right next to, I wish I knew the name of the street. It's Pleasant Street, I think it is.
Pleasant Street, next to City Hall.
Right.
That's where we go to vote for Ward 4.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
So that's in your area
Yes.
then? Oh, okay.
Yes.
That's pretty good.
Yes.
Okay, now I got some questions that I took off my friend here,
Okay.
Mr. Google, and he's not too good, you know. Okay, education. What are you? Oh, the woman, I'm not going to mention her name because it wouldn't be fair to the others that I mentioned.
Sure.
She's told me to say thank you for what you do for her in the wintertime, but I don't know what you do for her in the winter.
Okay. Well, I do a little bit for everybody in the winter. I own a plow truck.
Oh.
And I plow for the state, and I plow my own property. And what I do is, after coming in, being out for days at a time sometimes, I'll come by the different streets that I see, whether I'm coming over the hill in Park Ave or up Suffolk, coming down onto Ridge. Doesn't matter where I am. If I see someone out there that's older or even sometimes younger that's struggling, I'll try to help. Or I pull in, try to take the bundle of the snow away. If I see a woman out there with children or some older people out there, I try to get out and actually shovel a little with them, no matter how tired I am. And I just think that takes me back to the upbringing of my parents. You know, we try to help everybody. Kindness is contagious. And I think that being kind to others and being kind to strangers goes a long way.
So you're a real community veteran then?
Well, I try
Well,
to.
if you help seniors, you are, because I'm a senior. And
I try to be.
Anyone that helps a senior citizen, to me, is a community veteran.
Thank you very much.
Okay, now I want to say thank you. And I hope, Mrs. C, that answers your questions. You own your business. What improvements would you like? Oh, you're very involved in sports too, I understand. Let's talk a little about your sports. Before we say anything, I know
Sure.
I'm going to make a lot of enemies here, but I don't care. I come from New York, so I used to root for the Dodgers. When they moved down, I'm a Yankee fan now, folks. Take it easy. I'm
There
a
you go.
Yankee fan. Go ahead.
Well, I tell you, I think anyone that's involved in any sport, no matter what it is, whether it's baseball, football, hockey, I think they need to leave the politics out of it. It's a recreation.
Right.
It's something that we do as adults. We play, and some of us get paid very well to do it. And I think that, in all honesty, you know, there's a time and a place. And just because politicians go to games, and just because you know, people are there, I don't think they should be using such a stage when it comes down to it to voice their free will at that point. And not that they shouldn't voice their free will. Let me correct that. What I think is that they're working for, whether it be the NFL, Major League Baseball, the NHL. And when they do things like that, it's a job. They're being paid to be there. They're being paid to entertain the people, to show the youth that they can possibly get there. Give them something to strive for. And when they take and they make personal things come up in something that's supposed to be for the people as recreation, I think there's no place for it. I think there should be no government when it comes to it. Myself, I played some semi-pro hockey growing up. I was lucky enough, being a local boy from Revere, to be invited to skate in Bourne, Massachusetts in the free agent camp with the Boston Bruins back in 1987. It was an awesome experience. I got to travel the world playing hockey. I'm very fortunate. I'm very fortunate. And I thank my parents for supporting me, allowing me to do the things that I did. From opening up a business and then helping me when I wasn't here and I left to go skate, to just keeping me level-headed and you know, teaching me that family values means a lot, and to carry them forward. And there's just so much that goes on that I think that's where we should be. It all comes together. It's all family, whether it's sports, whether it's street and passing. Blood does not designate who family is. As in Revere, we're family. We prove that by how we came together with the tornado and how we overcame things. And I believe that's how it should be as a city and as a country.
During the tornado, a lot of houses got, well, not destroyed, but injured. I can use that word.
Oh, yeah.
Does that give you a lot of business for your flooring and things? Because a lot of the water and the snow coming down the roof.
Well, I tell you, I volunteered a lot to help. I actually...
You are a community veteran.
I am. At the time, I was working as a Massachusetts constable. And I volunteered down on Broadway. I actually had the street between Dunkin' Donuts and the 7-Eleven. And I was helping out by the lead of Revere Police and Everett Police in direction to keep the people from coming down the streets, to turn off the streets, because that's what the devastation it hit and hurt the most.
Right.
And then in making the streets safe, I stayed out there and helped, again, volunteering myself, so that people's homes wouldn't be robbed, and make sure the gas was off, walking people back in their homes to make sure they were safe with the proper people from the city, with the city workers. And together with the city workers and the citizens that protected their homes and helped one another, we got through this. And I believe in the city. That's what makes Revere who we are. That's what Revere is. You know, we're a family, and we need to be that family.
I have to tell you, when you mentioned the hurricane, the former fire chief, excuse me, the former fire chief was so good to come down to our senior center and shut off the gas and help us out in every way we could. And even where Winthrop Avenue is,
Sure.
the roof was coming off the pebbles and did a job on some of the cars. Wow. The air conditioner came flying off the roof and damaged the car across the way. Thank God it didn't damage my car, but my car got damaged by the glass when all the pebbles hit the glass.
You know, we're very fortunate. None of our citizens were killed.
That's right.
We had no fatalities. We had a lot of people that were, you know, a lot of disbursement from their homes where, you know, we got together. Again, I stress it all the time. We got together as a whole. And I believe it, like Ward 4, it's a neighborhood, it's a home, it's a group, we're a family. We need to talk to each other. We need to know who our neighbors are. You know, I'll say again that, you know, kindness is contagious. Say hello to your neighbors. Know who lives next door to you. Reach out. You never know. You never know who they are. Sometimes the simple hello just keeps people safe, knowing that they're okay coming and going.
That's pretty good. I like that, what you said.
Thank you.
Kindness is contagious. Now, you travel around the city, but you're running strictly for Ward 4.
Correct.
Let's say you were running for councillor at large.
Oof.
No, as an example.
Okay.
And you see faults in the city, not mentioning any names or anything.
Sure.
Where would you make some improvements in our great city of Revere? The city as a whole.
Well, I think that,
A new city hall would be nice.
wow.
A new senior center would be nice.
I think a senior center would be huge. And I think that, and going back to the ward, there's a school that's closed. That's down behind the post office. It's been closed for a while now. The police have used it for training for the state police dogs, and they've had some different things go on there. But there's a school that's there that's sitting idle that could be used for senior citizen get-togethers, for education, for our seniors and even our youth. I think that growing up, having hard-working parents, having to work hard to reach my goals, knowing that no one gives us anything, we have to earn it. And no entitlement issues is huge. And our children need to learn that, you know, no one teaches these things in school, but credit is huge. And as they come out of school, you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have credit, you can't do anything. And I think the simplest classes can be done there, where we could teach our youth, even help the people that are having hard times. Because I tell you, I'm one of those people, not having hard times, but that has a hard time in the morning. Just getting myself ready, my wife, our kids getting out to get to work on time. And everyone shares in the same things. We all share the same things. And some of us worse than others. And I think that if, with education, simple classes, I'm sure there are teachers that are out there that would volunteer to help, that would want to stand there, step in. Retired teachers that are seniors that could teach myself and even our youth things that we've forgotten.
That's great. Now I got to ask you, do you have any members in your family that were in the military?
I do.
Would you mention them so we can say thank you for their service?
Sure. My dad was very young, was in what was called the Sea Cadet Corps back in East Boston back in the day. And my uncle was in the military, God rest his soul, Salvatore Russo. And he was actually one of the potentates or presidents of the Shriners Burns Hospital.
Oh,
He actually put the shovel in the ground for the building of the Shriners Burns in Boston.
so let me thank them for their service.
Thank you.
Right, that's great. Now we got about 2.5 minutes left. Take a minute, 2 minutes, and leave me the other half. Let's talk about anything you wish.
Well,
Even if it's repetitious, because some people do tune in late.
sure. Well, being from the ward, growing up here, living in the ward, I just want to see the ward better, a better place. I want it to be better all of the time. I want it to be safe for our kids, our families. The streets need to be taken care of. There's a lot of mending that needs to be done. I know we take care of our main streets, but even our main streets need attention. Park Ave is a dangerous street. People drive over that hill coming and going from Everett down to Broadway like it's a speedway. I know when I got my license at 17 years old, I got stopped on Park Ave just trying to get home on time so I wouldn't have to get punished. Where are those police today? Where?
We have a police shortage, I hate to tell you that.
Well, we have a great police force, and our city's never been safer, and that's big. There are things that go on that we hear about, and it's scary sometimes, but the reality is our police are doing the best that they can do. I know that in listening that they're trying to budget for more. We're looking for parking enforcement people for the city. We're looking for the right reasons to make the right moves, and I think that the people need to work with City Hall and talk to City Hall and talk to their councilors and really be voiced. And I want to be that voice for them.
Right, and I want to say now that we're almost out of time. Mr. Russo, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank
God
you very
bless
much.
you, and good luck to you on your run for Councilor for Ward 4. Good
Thank
luck
you
to
very much, and thank you for serving
Thank you.
and taking care of us.
And I want to say thank you to the people of Revere. I want to say God bless our military who have served, and God bless the people of Revere again. But most of all, God bless our great country, the United States of America.